welcome to another Checiegirl Creations video. So today I'll be working in my A5 journal, and first I'm going to create quite a layer of texture using some drywall tape. This drywall tape I used to stencil some patterns on previous projects, which is why it's covered in a few different colors, mostly kind of like teals and oranges. So I'm going to peel off the backings, stick those down. Then I'm also going to use the backings as well for texture. So I'm going to stick those backings down as well using some PVA glue. So I'm just using a palette knife and the PVA glue to stick those down. And I'll also go over the drywall tape that has, that's like the proper piece of drywall tape as well with the PVA glue, just to make sure that's all secure, since I have used it as a stencil. So the sticky could have been compromised just a tad. And so I'm going to bring in a little bit more drywall tape. I really wanted to have a lot of texture on this page. And what I like about this drywall tape, because it's kind of like papery, you can tear it, which is really nice. So yeah, and the backing also had some paint on it, which was nice. So the backing's a nice kind of brown color. So I'll be using like an orange, teal, and a kind of almondy kind of color for when I add paint. So I wanted to add just a little bit more texture, but I felt as if I had enough drywall tape. So I'm going to go in with some book paper is what I meant to say. Just in a few areas where it was a bit, where there was a bit more white space. And I'm going to go over all of that now with some chalk primer. This chalk primer is a little bit thinner than normal. This was like the first set I ever made. So it's a bit more watery, so I was still able to see some of the color shining through. And I'm also going to kind of scrape some designs into that chalk primer as well using the palette knife. And then I let that dry. And now I'm going to go in with some paint. So first I'm going in with that almondy color. I've just squeezed that straight onto the page. I'm going to blend that in with my fingers. My favorite tool to use really are my fingers. It always creates a really nice texture, and I love to get messy with the paint. So that's all nice and blended in, and I'm going to go in with some Viridian. And I'm just going to put that in like a few different places. I tend to like to work in threes. So it's kind of like a triangle I'm working in. And I put quite a bit of Viridian, a bit more than I meant to, but that was all right. I just blended it out as much as possible. And now I'm going to go in with some orange. I think that's cadmium orange hue, I think it's called. And I'm going in mostly in the middle and a few different areas. And that creates quite a nice color palette actually. And I was making sure to clean my fingers between colors so that I wouldn't create mud. And I thought it would be kind of nice to add some of that red. That's from my December box theme Muted Tones. So I just added some of that red in a few areas, and that just kind of finished it off nicely. And now I'm going to blend those colors together and kind of push it back into the background with some chalk primer. And again, I'm using my fingers, as you can see, to blend those together. And adding the white then I was able to get more than one color in a way, because then there was slight tints of the color where I blended it more, and then I just kind of put the white on without blending it too much. And after that was dry, I wanted to add like a vase. So this is a stencil from Sean Petite. I got that because I'm part of her creative team. So that one is called Vases 1, I believe. And I'm going to use some black paint and stencil in there. And first I used because there's a mask and stencil in this set. So first I kind of figured out where I wanted the vase to be with the mask. And then I could just put the stencil over that, remove the mask, and then stencil in that image. And I wanted to add just a little bit of depth and stuff to it. So I just went in with that almond color just to add a bit of a highlight. So once that was done, I'm going to go in with a little bit more black to create like a surface where the vase will be sitting on. Oh yeah, and my paint brush had accidentally been left without being washed out. So I just sprayed some water on the palette just to kind of get it going a little bit, just kind of wash that out. But it was fine. And this brush is a bit of a, it's been messed up for a while, so I wasn't too worried about it. So yeah, so I'm just going in with the black, trying not to cover up the vase too much, and I am going a bit higher than the bottom of the vase so you can see that the vase is sitting on it. And then I'm going to add just a tad highlights with that almond color again. And I'm also going to add a quick border around the edge of the page. I like to add a nice black border because that just helps ground the page, because black grounds and then the white like makes it pop. And I'm also going to go over and just kind of hit some of that drywall tape with the black, blend that in a little bit, and then I'm going to add some splashes. And blending the black over the drywall tape just helped that texture kind of pop back out again because it was covered up by the paint a lot. And I'm adding like stems to the flowers, and you can see like, especially with the drywall tape that was stuck on, not the backing, because it was higher and I was going over with my fingers, some of the paint didn't go into the holes. So that created quite a nice look because then you can still see some of the page from like shining through the paint, which was really nice. So I'm just putting in those flowers. And I had no kind of like idea of what kind of flowers I was doing. I was just pulling things down that look kind of like flowers, and I'm also going to add some leaves, as you can see. And I'm using my liner brush. It's a nice fine detailing brush. It has really nice long bristles, so I'm able to get nice thin lines. So I really love these liner brushes, and I know I've been going on about them for ages, and you can get them from Hobbycraft as well, just in case you were wondering. I'm just adding some like kind of sprigs in a few areas. And again, I'm kind of working in threes. Like the bigger flowers I did put like 2 of, but then I'm going to put like 3 sprigs. And then I'm also going to add kind of like really thin sticky bits as well. And now I'm going to like go around the vase and just kind of add the detail back in there, because of the edge wasn't very defined, sorry, when I stenciled that on. And I just added like a darker area on the side where the light wouldn't be hitting. I'm just going to add another set of sprigs, but like with leaves on it. I'm just creating the leaves by like pressing the kind of like the tip of the paintbrush down. And you can see some of the leaves didn't come out great, but once I go in and add some more details, it'll look fine. And you can see now just adding these like twig bits just to fill out the bouquet of flowers. And now I'm going to add back in some more highlights, but stronger. Again, that almond colored paint to like the table and the vase, and I'll also go in with the flowers and the leaves to add that in. And that's a nice subtle way of adding highlights. I like to kind of add highlights in stages. So I add like a really subtle one, which is kind of what I did with the stenciling. Now this is like the next stage, which is still a bit subtle. Then I can go in with like white paint or my white Uniball Signo pen, and that adds really nice strong highlights. And it's nice to have those layers. It really adds a lot of depth to whatever you're doing. And I thought I would just quickly mention, while you're watching this video, I'm most likely out of the country. If you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you would have known that I was going to be out of the country for quite a few months. So there is a link below where you can subscribe to my newsletter, so that you can find out when I'll be back in the country again, because at the moment my site is offline because I won't be able to operate since I'm quite far. So I'll put that link below, and of course you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook so you can get updates on what's going on. Yes, so this video and quite a few of my videos coming up were all filmed in advance so that you guys would be able to still get regular videos every Monday. So I just thought I would mention that just in case you were wondering. And I just added some splashes using that almond color. And now I'm going in with some more black on that vase, and I just wasn't really happy with it at the time. So I'm just adding, kind of going in with the black and then blending in with that almond color. Just to kind of, I wanted that side to be a bit brighter. And then of course I can go in with the white afterwards. I'm just adding some more black just to kind of blend it up. And then I'm going to go back in and add a black line around the vase. And I felt the table didn't have enough highlights on that either, so I'm just going in and adding some more of that almond color. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the colors I used for the background. So for the viridian, I'm going in on the stems and everything and the leaves of the bouquet to add some color, because I felt, I mean, the black looked nice, but I wanted to just add a little bit of color. So the viridian is quite watered down so that you can still see the black shining through a bit. And once I've done adding that, I'm going to add some splashes all over the page. And then I'm going to add red to some of like those kind of spriggy bud things. And also add some splashes. And I'll go in with the flowers with some orange. And of course, add some splashes afterwards as well. So you can see that just added a lot more interest to the flowers and everything. And it also made it stand out from the vase a little bit more. And I felt as if I needed to go in and add a bit more of that almond color just because it had been covered up with the paint. And I'm just adding a little bit more of that to the vase as well. And I'm adding a really light layer like around the other side of the vase just to make it stand out from the background and the table. And I wanted to then add just a little bit of the color to the vase. So first I'm going in with that red, and I'm just adding a really small touch and then blending it in with quite a bit of water, as well as the viridian and the orange. You can't see it too much, but at certain angles you can kind of pick up on those colors. And again, adding in some more of that almond color. You can see there's a lot of back and forth with this page. So now for the highlights. So I'm just going to use the Uniball Signal pen just to, of course, add highlights and just finish off the page. So I did go around the vase, but then of course I added stronger highlights on the side where the light would be hitting, adding highlights to the bouquet. And then I'll also go in and kind of highlight some of the circles in the drywall tape with the Uniball Signal as well. So I believe that is it. Oh, I did also add some gold as well off camera. I didn't realize I wasn't filming at the time, so I just added a few touches of gold. So yeah, so that, I believe that's it. So if you like the video, please do subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to click that bell so you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. And yeah, so if you are following my videos and you get inspired and you create a journal page of your own, please do share on my Facebook group or tag me on Instagram. All those links are down below. And yeah, so thanks again for watching, and I hope you join me again for another arty video. Bye!